Hello and welcome back to the channel, and this week I'm going to be redoing for the third time, actually it's test 4, more about that in a second, my high resolution test with my Olympus system. If you haven't seen the previous two videos, I'll put a link down in the comments, go and check them out, but let me just summarise for you here. So the idea of this is I have bought an Olympus camera, an EM1X, to do macro photography, and I also need a backup camera for landscapes because I'm off to Lofoten very shortly and I don't want to get to Lofoten, slip, fall, bust a camera and have no backup. So I normally use Nikon. I have a Z7ii with me here today, and I'm trying to find out whether I would be happy with an Olympus system as my main landscape camera. So it has a feature on it called high resolution shot, because the problem I have with the Olympus system and micro four thirds is it's a 20 megapixel sensor, which I don't really feel is going to be enough for me because I crop a lot. So I'm exploring whether high res shot might be my answer, or might be the solution. So using high res shot on the Olympus, I can produce an 80 megapixel file, which compares with the 45 of the Nikon, which should be ample, in fact is ample. And the last two times I've tried it, I've come down to the coast. So the first test was done here at Cromer, the second test was done at Southwold, and on both of those occasions, no matter what I tried, the Olympus wasn't sharp. Now it could be, a lot of people said it's user error, it's the fact that I can't use a camera. My argument to that is I can use a Nikon all right, because both of those occasions the Nikon was sharp, but it may be something I'm doing, I don't know. My theory is that maybe waves coming in are somehow influence the camera. So what happens with the high resolution shot is the Olympus will take 8 pictures moving by a micron each time, and then stitches them all together to make one big file, and it may be that somehow the waves moving in the picture are influencing that. Lots of people have given me advice. I've had Olympus ambassador Roger Hance come to talk to me about it. He talked about diffraction, which I hadn't realised. So the second test was to try and put all those things right. Still got images I weren't very happy with. I wouldn't say they were out of focus, and motion blur maybe a little bit. I'm not quite sure what it was. I think it might be a bit of motion blur. So what I've done is Olympus, or OM Systems, and a big shout out to Claire Harvey for sending me the stuff, have sent me a load of Olympus gear. I've got one of the new OM1 Mark IIs. I've got the 12 to 40 Pro lens, which I've already owned. It's my own one, but I wondered whether there was a problem with that. So I'm going to shoot it all again. I've shot, by the way, and I'm going to send you over there in a second, in Scotland, a higher resolution shot. Right, so we're setting up high res mode on the OM1 Mark II, so it's on there, as you can see. Let me just talk you through some of the shots. Now, what it hasn't got on the EM1, the 1X that I had before, it hasn't got this bit, which is waiting time. So this will allow me to have put a 2-second delay on it. So it could have been movement, don't know. I'm in the water, so there's possibility there could be movement, but it's not particularly high. So we've got an 80 megapixel fine shot plus a raw file it's going to produce for me. We're going to go and record it into 4-bit. That's going to be the best. No flash to charge, so I don't need to worry about any of that. Now there is a strap here, and people have said to me, oh, your strap's going to cause movement. It won't do today. There's not a single bit of wind. So let's just go for that. Let's just make sure we focus completely up on the hut. So you can see it's dead sharp. There we go. Just move that up a little bit, just so everybody's happy that this is completely sharp. Okay, there we go. 2-second delay. And that's now going to do a high res shot for me. It's an 80 megapixel raw file, don't know how many megapixels, shot at 5.6, 1/6 of a second, ISO 200, or 16.9. Crop rate, or aspect ratio. Let's just do another one. So let me just go through these again with you. 200 ISO, the meter is bang on, 5.6, 1/6 of a second, and Focus up again to make sure it's completely sharp. There we go. Right, so gently press this, but there is a 2-second delay, so it should now do it. It's done really quickly. It's now stitching it together, and that should be fine. Right, here we go with the Nikon. So we've got f11 here, focused up on the hut. Oh, just there. I trust this enough to know that's going to be focused bang on. 1/3 of a second this time. 200 ISO is the same. 2-second delay. Boom. But you can see from this that the high resolution shot of both the Olympus and the Z7ii are almost identical. I mean, I would be very happy to use that Olympus camera on that situation, not a problem at all. Now, the difference between that and today is today we've got moving waves, and I wonder whether that is a problem. The other problem could be there's something wrong with my EM1X, or there's something wrong with my EM1X lens. So I'm going to shoot all of these cameras today. I'm going to shoot one with the Z7, I'm going to shoot a high-res tripod with the OM1 Mark II, and I'm going to shoot a high-res tripod shot with the EM1X. I'm then going to swap the two lenses over, so the one that's on the OM1 Mark II, which is Olympus' own, we're going to swap onto the EM1X. I'm going to swap them over, and somehow I'm hopefully going to eliminate what the problem is. If both Olympus lenses, or all the Olympus shots, are blurred, somehow I think what's happening is there's, as it's trying to stitch them together, it's trying to line up things, and because the waves are going to move, and therefore when it's dark like it is now, it's just before sunrise, it's not able to stitch them together, it moves them around. That could cause it. It could be as a problem with the lenses, in which case we'll be able to tell quite quickly, or it could be a problem with the camera, in which case we're going to tell quite quickly. It could also be a problem with me, but I would be surprised if I can't get any of them sharp, then I would propose to you that it's not. So let me just show you. So we've got the Z7ii here, this is the OM1, and here is my OMD EM1X. So I'm going to put that on this tripod here. The reason I'm on a tripod, or the reason I bought 3 tripods, is because I don't want to be a lot of gap between pictures. We want to make sure that we do it as close as possible to the same time. It's not going to work exactly, but I'm going to do my best with it. So let's get everything set up and I'll talk you through what I'm doing. Z7ii, we have 200 ISO because that's what the Olympuses are on. F8, slightly different apertures because the Olympus on 5.6 is equivalent to F8, and that's what we're shooting at normally. So F8, 1/30 of a second, exposure axis has gone up a little bit, so let's just get that down to 45th. So that's all ready to go. That's going to shoot me a 45 megapixel image. Here is the OM1 Mark II. We have high res set, we have a delay, high res set there. Got 1 second delay, 60th of a second, 5.6. You can see everything's level, exposure's right, manually focused, and I can show you this quickly, but I can just have to trust me that they've all been focused on that P at the background. Can't quite, let me just move that up so you can see. So we're actually setting the focus on round about there. Come on. There, okay, so there we are. Just everyone who said you haven't focused it properly, that's focused. And exactly the same on this one. This is the EM1, sorry, the OMD EM1X. I'm going to do the same with that. Focus on, where are we? Come on, mate, let's go that way. And then if I focus up, you'll see that's the same. Okay, same exposure. So high res mode set. I've got a 1 second delay on here. That's doing that. 1 second delay on there. That's doing that. There we go, that's building that. And then on the Nikon, straightforward picture. Boom. Right, so I've shot all three cameras at high res mode. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to swap over the lenses on the two Olympuses to see if there's an Olympus problem, if it's a lens problem that I've got. In other words, have I bought a lens that's very soft, or is it the camera, or is it neither? So let's turn these both off. We'll swap the lenses back over and we're going to shoot it all again. I've changed the lenses over now, so I'm just going to make sure this is now focused. Okay, so this is the OM1 Mark II, focused up. And I know it's not probably framed exactly the same, but don't worry too much about that. This one did move a little bit on the tripod. But there we go. So there's 5.6, sixth of a second. It's actually gone up a little bit higher now. So let's come down to, actually we want to go 5.6 is the important bit. Let's go this way. So we're going to go 80th of a second. Let me just check that focus again. Paranoid, that's good, that's bang on, that should be sharp. High res image, here we go. That's busy building that. And the same with this one, just going to check the focus. Yeah, you can see the focus there is looking good. And that's busy building that one. And there we go. Right. Let's have a quick look then at this image. So let's bring it up on the screen and we'll zoom in a little bit. Let's have a look. Looks dead sharp to me. Look, absolutely clean as a whistle. That. Let's do the same with this one. So it could be that this is the problem. Let's have a look here. Yeah, and actually, is it? Not completely convinced. That is as clean. Interesting then. The only thing that's slightly different is the fact that it's obviously brighter at the moment. I missed sunrise a little bit. I got here a little bit late, but normally I'll be shooting in a lot darker conditions, a lot lower light, which might make a difference. But from initial thoughts on the back of the camera, looks to me like the EM1X isn't quite as sharp, and I think it's the camera, not the lens. I've managed to eliminate that, I think, but we won't really tell until we get back into the office. So let me take you back to the office now, and we'll put all three of these images, actually all five of these images, up on screen, and we'll have a little look and see if we can find out what's going on. Let's go back then to my office and we'll draw some conclusions about this test from today. So here we are in Lightroom. Let me just talk to you about what we've got along the bottom here. So we have, when I was in Glencoe, I've shown you the footage of that. I took these two images. So on the left here we have the OM1 Mark II in high res mode, and on the right is the Nikon Z7ii on normal mode. I've got all the details of all of the various camera settings on the right here for you to have a look at. If you want to stop it at any time and have a look, please do so. So next we've got is the Z7ii from Chroma, so a normal shot there, and then we have three images from the EM1X. So this one, first of all, is a high res, the first one that we did, and then we have a kind of control image, if you like. It's a normal 20 megapixel image. And then here we have another high res image with the other lens on. So this is the one with the Olympus lens on. And then here we have the OM1 Mark II. It's the first one that we did with the Olympus lens on. And then we have a second one. And then we have a handheld high res image, and followed by a 20 megapixel control image. So let's have a quick look first of all. Let's go on the select. We're going to select the Olympus image. We're going to select the Nikon image, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to compare the Nikon. Let's bring it up to 100%, and I could actually lock those in. What I'm going to try and do is make the Olympus image the same size, which means I won't have to actually zoom in quite as much. So there we go, that's both the same. In actual fact, the Nikon does really well on this. I feel that it's got a little bit more contrast. There is a little bit more dynamic range in the Olympus, and the reason for that is it's a higher res image, and that gives you a little bit more dynamic range, so I'm sure I can pull those highlights in. But both of those images, to be fair, I'm not going to get really bogged down in details. I think both of those are fine. I would be happy to use either of those images. Look really nice. So first of all, there we go. That shows you that the Olympus works really well on high res mode. So let's have a look now at the Nikon Z7 compared with the Olympus EM1X. Let's just do the same thing here. So if we zoom into around about there, 83%, something like that. I mean, actually, the best thing is the writing, I guess. Let's just go out a little bit so we can see that a little bit clearer. So there's the Nikon, and if I do the same on the Olympus, so we've got roughly the same size. Obviously, it's a bigger file, so it shouldn't need enlarging quite as much. Something around there, and already this is well, actually, I'm quite pleased, because that tells me that it's not me. That is not sharp on the Olympus side. And yes, it's nearly sharp, but that is nowhere near as sharp as this Nikon is. Nowhere near. Look at those lampposts. So this is what I was seeing. This is why I was frustrated, because on high res mode, the EM1X is not doing the job. So let's just check with the second image, which I think is that one. Actually, let's have a look at the handheld one. Let's zoom in here and have a look, because I think actually in this situation it's actually better probably than the high res. Let's make, I mean, we know it's not going to be as good as the Nikon. There's the high res, and look. So what I think is happening is the C, as it's moving, is causing the EM1X problems. It can't keep it still. It's trying to match things up, and resulting in it's just thrown it out completely, because a 20 megapixel file is actually better than the high res file, which is a bit of a shame, really. So this is the, let's have a look here. Actually, let's go back to this is the high res file. Let's do this one. This is the one with the lens, with lens change. So this is the Olympus lens, and the same thing is happening. Look, still not sharp. So that's with the Olympus lens. So that has discounted the lens. It's not a lens problem. It's a camera problem, I think. If I just click onto this one, so this is now the OM1 Mark II on the left here, 100%, and this is the EM1 here on the right, which is, put it back down to 100%. We're still not getting it sharp. Yeah, just doesn't work. So actually, with this EM1 Mark II image, very happy with that. Let's just change this one to the Nikon. Right, there we go. So we now have on the right, on the left, we have the Olympus OM1 Mark II at 10,000 pixels on the long end, and the Z7ii here. So if we just lock these into space together, let's just zoom in a little bit, move these over, look at this. So there's no discernible difference, and you could argue the Olympus obviously is as sharp, but actually it's a bigger file, so I would get a bigger print out of that. That works really well, happy with that. I'd say the Nikon does slightly better, if I'm honest. If you look around here, I think if you look at those a little bit more zoomed in, there's probably a little bit more detail on the right hand side here, but
I can work with that. We can sharpen it up a little bit, because don't forget these are just the raw files here. But I'm very happy with either of those. This is the handheld version. Okay, that's now clear. So this is handheld at, what have we got here? 100th of a second f5.6. Handheld high res, and I would say that is just as good as the one on the right, which is the high res 80 megapixel file. 80 megapixel may be slightly better. Let's just make it slightly smaller. Yeah, it is slightly better on the tripod. The thing is with the megapixels though, we just being able to make bigger prints, so sharpness is not really an issue, apart from the fact that we can see these are sharp, and we can see that that one is not sharp. That's the whole crux of the matter. I think what we're seeing here is a bit of motion blur, so in which case it's probably to do with, oh, we can see actually what's that there. You can see that, look, that's what we're getting up here. So I think it's to do with the technology, and I'm very happy that Olympus are capable of producing a camera that can do that, and indeed I am actually capable of shooting with them when I have the technology available to me.
Well, I hope you found that useful. Thanks ever so much to everybody who's commented and helped and given me ideas about what I may have been doing wrong, what may be the problem. You now know, and I don't, because I haven't gone back to my office with these, but we now know what the solution is. So thanks ever so much for your help with that. I've now got a decision to make as to whether or not I get some Olympus stuff as a backup to my Nikon stuff for landscapes when I go to Lofoten, whether I switch completely from Nikon to Olympus, or whether I just simply buy a Z8, which I can also use for wildlife and that kind of stuff, sports stuff, which I'm interested in doing next year, and just keep the EM1X for macro work, because there's no doubt that the Olympus system is far better than the Nikon system for macro work. Yeah, interesting. I've got some time to think about it. I've got these cameras, this camera and this system on loan for another month or so. So a lot of time to test it out, and lots of videos about that coming up on the channel. So I hope you can subscribe and come and join me again and see what else we get up to with this new system that I'm trialing. So until then, thanks ever so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Any comments below, please go ahead and leave them, but be nice. Until next week then, see you 6 o'clock on Sunday. Take care. Happy Christmas. Bye.